Thank you for being with me today, wherever you are in the world. It is January 7th as this is airing, and we are completing the first full week of January 2026. The last 3 episodes I issued were really about not rushing into 2026, not getting so regimented about what we're going to do, who we're going to be, what the goals are going to be. It was really about sitting and knowing that we are okay in our body while acknowledging all that we've been through 2025. And I think now I'm ready to sort of issue an episode of doing, of a little bit more of doing. That being said, the new year for the Gregorian calendar falls in January. Now, in terms of the seasons and the energy of the seasons, winter is really about hermit mode, being more in isolation, bundling up, staying warm, covering up, cooking, really just being home. It is not the time to start the new thing. It is the time where we are hibernating. But that doesn't mean that we don't do anything. That means that we build foundations during this time. So when we think about our foundations, we really want to think about everything that I talk about, the thesis of this podcast, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual components of our lives. So when we think about those components, before we even get into picking out what we want to focus on, we need to make sure it's clean. We need to get rid of the old stuff. We need to get rid of the debris. We need to clean up the dust. So when we look back at 2025, we say, what went really well? And then we think about what didn't go well. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot easier to recall what didn't go well. I don't know if it's just 2025 or in general, but it's a lot easier this year, at least for me, to recall what didn't go well in 2025. But that lent way to then really getting into what did go well. And if you have a planner, if you use Google Calendar or whatever you use, and you can just sort of go back and see. I like to break it down into quarters so that you can really think January, February, March, what happened then. If you break it down by quarter, by 3-month periods, you're really able to get a snapshot of the feeling and dissect it. And I'm not asking you to really go into the weeds on it, but just honor it. And we're going to, at the end, just sort of celebrate the wins so that we can feel good and confident coming into the new year. There's always something to do. There's always going to be the list. There's always going to be obligations. There's always going to be the job responsibilities, the parental responsibilities, you name it. We need to make sure that we're checking in with ourselves. The last few mornings, I've woken up at 6 and I went straight down to my office and just really got everything out that needed to get done, that I wanted to do, so that I could have a clear mind and really work from a place of, okay, I'm not doing it all now, but I know what needs to be done. And I'd like you to look at that mentality and bring it to sort of any areas of messiness that you have loose ends that you need to tie up. It could not just be the physical things that we need to tend to in our lives. It could also be things that are supporting us mentally, which could be, hey, I need more help around the house because I can't do as much laundry and dishes and cooking and cleaning as I am needing to. So I'm going to invest some money and free up some clear space for myself. And that act alone frees up so much space. Just the actual thought of I'm going to take care of myself in this way frees up this whole energetic wave of I'm taking care of myself. So before it even happens, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling ready for these changes that I'm going to implement in my life. And when we think about physical, mental declutter, let's just literally declutter closets. Let's declutter, clean the drawers. Let's clean the bottom of the drawers, the dirt and the dust that's gotten on the bottom of our drawers that holds our kitchen utensils, like that kind of stuff. Let's clean out. And, you know, I know we were talking about spring cleaning, but this is a really good way to just clear your mind and ground into this energy of the horse and the new year and the numerology 1. We really want to build that foundation now because that new year really isn't starting until Q2. So we have 2 to 3 months right now to get really comfortable in our space, feel really good about what we're doing for ourselves, and get ready to catapult off of that clarity that we're going to give ourselves energetically. And emotionally, we want to take inventory of where we're leaking. And I think for a lot of us, that falls into our relationships. Where am I being leaky in relationships? Where am I giving too much? Where am I giving too little? Where are my relationships making me feel like I'm falling short? Am I really falling short? I think a lot of times it's like, oh, we're doing so much work, but like, are we? Are we really doing the work to do what we need to do to take care of our relationships and our loved ones? Or on the flip side, are we really holding the boundaries for ourselves so that we can stand in integrity and feel like we're not betraying ourselves in the name of other people because we're so used to doing that? Where is that line? Where is that balance? Examine those dynamics in your relationships so that you can really get in touch with your own identity. We get lost emotionally in relationships because we're blaming people, because we're pointing fingers, because we're taking the blame, or, you know, understand that dynamic. It works both ways, and it's not just always you pointing the finger. Also, not just you playing victim or self-betraying, as is a better term. And finally, when we look back at that year, at 2025, we want to, at that year, you know, it was a tough year. It was a tough year for me. And when we look back at it, where were we feeling supported in the unseen? Where were we receiving bursts of energy and inspiration from feeling supported by loved ones that have crossed over, by maybe signs that you're interpreting on a walk that you're going on? Last year, my husband bought me a long pearl necklace years ago in 2021. And my daughter was like 3 and she ripped the pearl necklace. That was my fault. She shouldn't have been playing with it. I finally brought it back to get fixed, restrung. He gave it to me. He said that there was like a way to make it into like numerous lengths. And I was able to like find one place that it unscrewed, but I couldn't find the other place. So when I went to go pick it up, they were like, and we have a surprise for you. I'm like, yeah, what's the surprise? You want to sell me something? So I get into the jewelry store and they're like, this necklace actually has a mystery clasps. And that, the symbolism behind that for me, like struck a chord with me. And this year I worked on my marriage and learning how to communicate in ways that are more gentle. That was like my thing this year. And that little like light bulb in my head really had a lot of meaning to me. It had a lot of meaning to my marriage. It made me feel like there was a depth that maybe I didn't see all the time that was there, and it surprised and delighted me. I talk about this, like surprise and delight. What surprised and delighted you? And now I know how to wear my necklace. I have like a choker with 2 pearl necklaces or a really long necklace, and it's amazing. I needed that boost at that time. It just happened like right at the right time. So what were the parts of your life? What were the moments in your life that right at the time you needed to hear something or see something or feel something, you felt it? That is the spiritual component of being guided by the unseen forces that you feel really empowered and protected by. Lastly, last week when I talked about embodying 2025, we've now compartmentalized, cleaned up, decluttered 2025. And we're in a position to now embody the good things that we're taking from 2025 and build the foundations coming in to 2026. So as we move forward, in every week, I will be issuing out ways, at least in January, on how to build these dreams, these visions, these goals, these milestones, this dream life that you want to have. We're going to do that together here. So happy 2026, happy new year. And I love you guys. I'll see you next week.